Hi everyone! Today I will be doing 3 looks using the Huetopian Dreams palette. I will be using every single shade in this palette except for the lilac shade, as I have already used that. So I also kind of feel like this palette is a little bit less diverse than some of her prior releases, so you'll notice these 3 looks kind of tend to trend towards the same look when you're not using that lilac shade, but I still thought it would be really fun to try and do 3 looks anyways. They all kind of are a lot more soft and daytime appropriate compared to some of the bolder looks I like to do, but honestly, I do really love myself a soft, rosy toned look, so I thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of these looks. This first look is definitely going to be the softest of the bunch. I'm using just the lighter toned mattes in this palette. I think one of the reasons this palette can feel a little bit one note for some people like me is because their 3 mattes all are in the same color family. Not that that's a bad thing, although I do wish she would do something other than pinks next time. So you can see here I'm really just carefully building up the shade. They blend out really easily. If you see any patchiness on my left eye, that is because I actually at one point had a pimple right there, and the pimple is still healing, so that's kind of that light spot you'll see towards the inner corner. Now the second matte that I'm adding on, I'm doing a vertical gradient method, so I'm smoking it out from the lash line up, and you can see it adds a really nice gradient effect to add some depth to my eyes. And then I'm gonna use it to add some definition to my lower lash line as well. And then I'm gonna use the pink matte from earlier just to blend everything out. Next, I'm going to be very lightly applying this metallic. Now, it can obviously go to a very full intensity, but for this look, I wanted it to be soft and glittery, so that is why the application is sheer. The shadow itself is completely fine, but it is versatile enough that somebody like me could sheer it out if they wanted to. And then lastly, I'll be using this shade as the inner corner highlighter. Now it's almost too deep for me to use as a highlight, but in contrast to the darker mattes on my eyelid, it will work. Now, I kind of thought it would be a little fun to add just a little bit of sparkle because it's a Pat McGrath palette, so I very lightly dabbed the tiniest bit of one of the special shades just across everything, and you can see that it makes the eye look just kind of go to another level. But because I applied it like a topper, the look still looks the same. Now I've been loving these false lashes lately, just letting you guys know what I used. I'm also going to be using eyeliner in all 3 of these looks just because I frequently do eyeshadow without eyeliner, since you know eyeliner has to be so thick to show up on my eyelids. But for all 3 of these looks, I did use eyeliner to kind of add some accent to the look since the eyeshadow is fairly simple. And you can see here that I'm just as usual lining the tail of my eye, and the false lashes kind of do the rest of the work for the rest of my eye. And then of course I draw in some fake lower lashes. I'm also going to line my inner corners for the added definition. And that's the finished eye look. And now I have added the lips, so the face is now complete. 2 lip products I used today are shown here from Chantecaille and Glacier, and I also am testing out Phytosurgent's blush balm. I'll be making a video on that later. For the second look, I'm going to be using this quad over here. What I really enjoyed about this palette is it kind of felt like it was broken into 2 easy soft quads, and then the 2 special shades on the end are kind of there as accent colors you can add if you want to. So for the 3 looks in this palette, the first 2 looks are broken up that way. I'm kind of working within 2 quads. So the base shade this time is going to be a much more vivid pink, so that's going to set this look up to be a little bit more colorful. I also am going to be using the Trio Chrome kind of as the point metallic of this look. I really didn't have a difficult time at all working with any of these mattes. I felt like they went on so quickly and they blended out with minimal effort. Next, I'm going to be using this before I use the metallic. I don't really want to get the tip all contaminated with eyeshadow, so I'm just tapping it on with my finger. And now I'm going to be applying this Trio Chrome. Now, due to the way my camera lights are set up, the shift is not going to show very well since the shift shows better in more dramatic lighting, so you really can only see the pink. The green shift is going to be hard to pick out, but it does have a really nice shift, and I do really like how it looks. I still wouldn't say it's as intense of a triochrome or multichrome as Cleona, which to me is kind of basically the gold standard multichrome on the market right now, but I can see how it is very approachable. It fits within her palette just fine, and it's a lot less intimidating to use than Cleona's formula, which is more difficult to work with. I would say Cleona's formula is about as difficult to work with as some of Pat McGrath's more chunky baked shades. You do have to really have some experience working with them and be patient, whereas Pat McGrath's shadows, and this metallic in particular, it felt like any other usual metallic. Now, I do want to try her Intensifies Eye Wand on Cleona shadows. I'll be making a video about that in the future. The gold metallic I use as an inner corner, not really a highlight, but just to add some brightness and contrast there. And then you can see I'm going to be going over the gold and the triochrome once again, just to make sure the two of them are blended together with my finger. Now you can see I tried to use my phone to try and show how it looks to some degree of success, and now I've used the same lashes as last time, and this is the finished eye look. I'm gonna add some eyeliner again. This time I'm using an Urban Decay eye pencil. I did the first eye look below the camera, so I'll just show you guys me working on the second one. Again, same thing, I just fill in the tail. This is how you can get really good looking eyeliner with monolids. And now the lip has been added, and you can see I went with a bolder lip this time. I'm sorry that the frame is overexposed. The camera tends to auto balance my black hair, and then my skin looks really bleached out, but working on it. I used Romand, as you saw earlier. I showed the color on camera so you can, you know what color it is now. But overall, I definitely really enjoyed this look. This is like the softest multi-chrome look I've ever done. I just wanted to show really quickly the primer I've been using in all three of these looks. I'm really liking it so far. I'll probably make a video on that later. Now this last look is going to use just the darkest matte in this palette, so I'm setting up a pretty nice smoky eye. Now it's not as intense as other smoky eyes I've done. I would say this is like kind of on the softer end of smoky eye, but it's definitely going to be the most dramatic look of the three. As you can see, it just, even on its own, this could just be a single shadow eye look and it would look beautiful. This very dark matte can blend out so well into just a soft wash of color, and it was so easy again to work with. I'm going to be using this as the point metallic of the look, just to kind of match with the depth of the matte. You can see I'm just applying it broadly across my eyelid. I'm not being super picky about where it's going. This metallic applies so easily, both with a brush or with a finger. The metallics in this palette are just supreme quality. And now I'm going to be using this again as a glittery topper. I accidentally added way too much, but you can't subtract eyeshadow, so we're just going to roll with it and pretend that was deliberate. So I'm just concentrating it on the inner half of my eyelid. Now, no, I did not use the Intensifies Eye Wand for this because I initially meant for it to be sheer, so you can see there is a significant amount of fallout. But because the chunks are so big and because I did powder my face already, it was actually not super hard to just brush off with a brush. And throughout the rest of the 8 or 9 hours I wore this look, I did not see any more fallout onto my face. Again, I'm going to add some eyeliner. I'm using a dark neutral brown color this time to match with the brown matte that I used. And this time I'm going to be doing a slightly longer wing. Now I'm doing this before I do my eyelashes or mascara, just to show you guys how I kind of have to keep in mind my eye shape changing. So for this look, I applied a very nice, thick, generous coat of mascara, and then I took some false lashes, cut them apart, and I actually stuck them underneath my lashes just to add some fluffiness to them. So you can't really see them unless you look really hard, but that's kind of the point, is just to make my eyelashes look like I have just really blessed eyelashes. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.